Hello, YouTube family. Today, we want to talk to you about 5 majors that are going to make you broke. This is going to be some good stuff, so tune in. So, I am Dr. C.
And I'm Dr. J.
And we are a Two Doc Minds.
So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about 5 majors that if you don't do it right, it could make you broke. And so what we're going to talk about today is exactly what we just said. How much does it cost for school, and what majors pay the least when you graduate? And we want to make sure that you understand that return on that investment, because if you do, you understand if you're going to be broke or not when you graduate college. And that's very important, because we have so many people that rely on student loans, are in debt the rest of their life because of that college or university they attended.
Yeah, so when I first started, and maybe you can relate to this, Dr. J, I didn't think to even look at this type of information and even compare these statistics with other colleges and how much I can afford and how much I can and how it will impact me after I graduate. This is important to know, and I wish I had this information before I started college.
Yeah, and when you're trying to, I always heard, you're trying to be the Joneses, right? Or trying to be like somebody else. So I'm trying to get into a good school like somebody else. I want the private school education or public school education or what have you. And you try to meet somebody else's expectation, and that really can cause you broke right at the gate of your life when you're 18 years old. So we're going to give you some advice that you may want to consider that's best for you financially. Some people got enough money and none of this matters.
Yeah.
Right? But some people have to count their pennies like I did, right? And so I'm going to give you something that I didn't have, or Dr. C, you may not have had when you were going to school. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's go.
So we did some research. Private school, 4-year, and we're assuming that you graduate in 4 years, right? It's going to cost you $241,000 to get an average private school education, right? And if you're going to Harvard and Princeton and Georgetown and all those great colleges, it's going to cost you even more. But we're just talking about, on average, a private school education going to cost you $241,000, right? Then we're going to talk about a public school education, but I'm going out of state. So what does that mean? I live in California. I'm going to school in Florida. It is a public school run by the government, but I have to pay out-of-state tuition. That student's going to pay on average $184,000. Now that's almost $60,000 cheaper than a private school education, but $184,000 is still a lot of money for school, right? So if I go to that public school in my state, and I live on campus too, all these are living on campus, guess how much it's going to cost me, Dr. C?
I don't know. Let us know.
$113,000. So that's half of the cost. No. That's more than half of the cost of a private school education. So private school, $241. Public school in-state, I go to a public school in-state, $113,000. Guess what I'm doing?
Oh, my goodness.
But guess what, y'all? And this is something that most people don't do because they feel bad if they do it. But this is the cheapest and best route that you can do. If I go to my local community college for 2 years.
No.
Yeah, AA degree, ain't that bad. They all equate. When you graduate, it don't say where you got your AA or them credits from. All it says is, I graduated with this degree on this date, and somebody signs it. So let's be clear. Stop trying to front. Yeah. If you ain't got the money, you may want to think about this. Community college 2 years, and then transition to my local state college, meaning I can catch the bus there, I can walk there, I can get on a little train there, right? Something that's close around the house, right? Where I don't have room and board and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
$49,000.
$49,000. Wow.
So think about that. I can get 5 degrees for the cost of one private school education. $49,000 over 4 years. Best education you can and cheapest. What do you think about that?
I like it. I mean, the cheapest route seems like the best route. But again, this is up to everybody's individual situation.
But what's your situation? What did you do?
$49,000 at a community college.
Yeah.
I love community college because it gives you the opportunity, especially if you are budget strict and are restricted in your amount of money that you have available. Yeah, community college is like just the way to go. And that's definitely the way I went. I actually got accepted into a four-year university and still went. So I think community college is very undervalued, and we don't see the benefits of it because it has such a stigma.
Yeah. So, and this is cool. Dr. C and Dr. J, right? We don't just say that because we want to. We say that because we got doctorate degrees. But also, we got master's degrees. Also, we have bachelor's degrees.
And also, we have AA
degrees because we went the cheapest route possible because that's all we can afford. But guess what? When you look at my bio, when you look at my resume, it ain't no different from nobody else's.
Absolutely.
You don't even know. So don't always try to be the Joneses, especially if you're going to be in one of these 5 majors that we about to talk about, because they sometimes just don't pay enough. And nothing wrong with the major.
Yes.
We're not trying to make nobody feel bad if they do the major.
No, this is just strictly information. That's
this is information. So if you're going to do this, you want to think about what that return on investment, especially if you were like us and you didn't have all the money in the world.
Before we continue with the 5 majors that you may want to reconsider because of the cost, we want you to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are one of the 1 or 2 or thousands of students that are taking these majors, please let us know in the comments and tell us about your experience so we can share it with the rest of our community. Thank you, fam, for signing in, and we look forward to this conversation. Let's go.
Absolutely. So number 5.
Number 5, yes.
Is
dun, 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 dun.
A history major.
Yes.
On average, they make $40,000 per year after graduation.
In some circumstances, that would be good. But that would have been like maybe 20 years ago, 40,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's especially where you live. I live in New York. I live in Chicago, or I live in the Bay Area. I live in LA. That's not enough to live on, right? I'm living in somebody's garage, $40,000. So with a history major, you will become one of these jobs or even potentially more, but I'm just want to give you a few. You'll become a historian. What does that mean? You may work at a museum or something, right? And you'll be given a little bit of history about certain type of things, right? That's great. Or archivist, where you're archiving our historian and artifacts that's out there, and you're trying to document that for somebody. Or a history teacher. Now, we know teachers in America just aren't paid enough. And so you just want to be mindful. Some of those jobs, right, on average, is going to pay you around $40,000 after you graduate. And when you're talking about a private school education, you pay $240,000 and now you get a $40,000. You may not be able to afford the student loan should you have to get them.
Absolutely.
So what's number 4?
So on our list is number 4, leisure and hospitality. This job category earns people on average $39,700, Dr. J.
Ooh.
And these types of jobs usually include event managers, I think we all encountered this type of career in some way, shape, or form. An event manager is someone who plans stuff, essentially, who helps you to organize events and helps you to, make sure that you're on time at your venues. So this is an exciting position, but it doesn't command a high salary. And another example of somebody that's in the leisure and hospitality field is a travel agent.
Absolutely.
I have never really worked with a travel agent before, but they have a pretty interesting job, I think, but it doesn't command a high salary. So this is something to consider when you're choosing your career after graduating college.
In addition to that, when you think about travel agents and now you have Google and all the AI, and you can search and get your own, reservations, hotels, you got to think, will that job be around in the future? So not only does it pay a little, will that job be around in the future? And those are some of the things you have to consider.
Yes, that's an absolute good point. What's next, Dr. J?
So number 3 on our list is a religious major.
Yes.
Theology. It pays $38,000. Think about this. After I go to college and get paid $38,000, that's about $19 an hour. So that's why you have a huge debate on, does it make sense to go to college or get a job right out of high school? Because many kids out of high school now, minimum wage is $15, $16. Should I go to college and spend this kind of money to get a similar job that I have? No knock on being a religious or major, right, or theology, but you have to consider that. And what are you going to do? You're going to potentially be a priest, a pastor,
Right.
a religious teacher. And those are some of the things. You may even work at a nonprofit organization doing some good work for people.
Yeah.
Those are all great things that we need for our spiritual soul.
Yep.
For our mental wellness. And so it doesn't pay, but it has a huge return on impact on what you can do for others. So you have to understand, sometimes these majors don't pay you financially, but there's so much other things that you get from having that major, from a spiritual, a mental thing, especially with this major. But you have to remember, whatever you pay for that degree, when you graduate and get that job, can you afford it?
Right.
And if you can, it's okay. But if you're going to have more debt than you have income coming in, you may have to rethink, is this for me, or is there another way for me to get it?
Gotcha. That makes sense. So number
2.
2.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, already.
Hit me, Dr. C.
So on average, this particular field only pays about $38,000 a year.
Again.
But it's wonderful, and everybody benefits from this, just like the theological and the religion aspect. Performing arts.
Absolutely.
Performing arts is essentially somebody becoming an actor, somebody wanting to participate in films and theater and voice acting, if you will. This is an exciting major.
Yeah.
It's just like the religious major. And there's some level of excitement and expression and creativity that is involved when you're
Absolutely.
choosing to be an actor.
Yeah.
So there's extra benefits, but unfortunately, on average, they only get paid about $38,000 per year.
Yeah, and we always hear, actors are underpaid, especially the struggling actors that are really trying to get to, that next level.
Yeah.
And we heard about struggling actors all of our lives. Some people know people that are struggling. It is something that people struggle with. So you got to be mindful on how you get that degree and can you afford it.
Yeah, there's other options as well. If you are into the performing arts, which again is a wonderful choice, you can become a dance instructor, which we have children. We've had several children in some type of performing arts class. This is hugely beneficial in their basic education.
Absolutely.
I mean, it helps, again, with self-expression, and it helps you to build on your creativity and innovative thought. So there is extra benefit to these careers. It's
Absolutely.
just not financial.
And again, another position, right, where you go into teaching, right? And that's going to be the unique thing that's sold in this is around teaching. But before we get to our last one,
Okay.
again, let us know what major you were, how much it costs, and hit that in that comment section. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe before we hit you with this last one.
Yes.
This is the top of our list, number 1 major that pays the least on our list, and that's a liberal arts degree. Again, around $38,000.
Yes.
What do you do with that degree? It's kind of like a general education degree.
Yeah.
Again, many people go into teaching. Some people may try to figure something out and do a marketing coordinator or some type of human resource specialist.
Right.
Try to figure out what it is because it is a generalist degree.
Yes, it is.
So if you're getting to a generalist degree, you want to make sure that you know what you want to do after so that you'll be ready to go with whatever job. But I always want you to know this. Before you go to college, think about what degree that you're going to get. Think about your financial situation. Think about what school you're trying to go to and make a decision that's right for you. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your school counselor, not your granny. Don't try to please your friends and all that stuff. Figure out what's financially right for you. And I guarantee you, from there, you'll be able to get to what you want because, think about it, if you graduate school with little or no debt and you're making $40,000, you may be able to live, depending on where you live, right? But if you're making $40,000 and you got $200,000 in debt, you may be struggling. So you got to make the best decision for you. And if you do that, your potential thereafter is so much greater because you don't have this stress of making money and you can do what's right for your heart.
That's a good point. I think also, it's not that you can't take on these particular degrees. I think that you have to just think about it in a way that benefits you. I mean, if you are really passionate about, say, the leisure and hospitality field, that's fine. But maybe you want to partner it or combine it with another degree that will sustain it or pay for it somehow, like business or some type of financial accounting class, dare I say. But definitely think about it in a way that you can strategize your approach.
So absolutely, I did this. I got a finance degree.
Yes.
I think I love it, but I got it because I knew I was going to get a good job thereafter. So if I now want to do my performing arts, I have a foundation of a class and a degree. Well, I have a foundation of a degree that will give me pay, so then I can spend my time pursuing my dreams.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways, like you said, Dr. T, to skin a cat. And so you just have to
live
be
your
flexible.
dreams and be able to pay your bills.
Absolutely.
That's very important.
So that's how we're going to close this out.
Yes.
Live your dreams, pay your bills, listen to Two Doc Minds, because we're going to drop the hot content and we're going to give you the scoop.
Yes.
I'm Dr. J.
I'm Dr. C.
Thank you for watching the Two Doc Minds.